Welcome to my channel. In this video, you're going to learn about writing variation statements and mathematical equation given table of values. Let's have a review of different types of variation. So, direct variation, y is equal to k times x, which means k is the constant of variation, x is the independent variable, and y is the dependent variable. So, here's an example of a variation statement. Varies directly with x means s is equal to k times x. So, in direct variation, it involves only two variables, s and x, or any letters, two variables. Another one, y varies directly with the square of x. So y is equal to k times x squared because square of x. For here, in direct variation, as x increases, y also increases. Or if x decreases, y also decreases. Now, for inverse variation, that is y is equal to k over x. So, take note of this. It also involves two quantities here, y and x. So, and the constant of variation should be in the numerator. The other, or the independent variable, should be in the denominator. So, let's have variation statement. Y varies inversely with r means y is equal to k over r. Another one, q varies inversely with the square of r, and that is q is equal to k over r squared. Okay, as x increases in inverse variation, y decreases. So it's the opposite. It's vice versa. If x decreases, y increases. Okay, take note of that. So if the given involves two variables, your choices is either direct variation or inverse variation. Now, next step is to check if the relationship of x and y. If x increases, y also increases, that is direct variation. If x increases and the other one decreases, that is inverse variation. Now, for joint variation, it involves more than two variables, so y is equal to k times x times z. So here, y varies jointly with x and z means y is equal to k times x times z. P varies jointly with r and s and q. So it means that P is equal to q, r, s, and q. Just simply multiplying all these quantities. So here, as x and z increases, y also increases. So it's just like direct variation, but the difference is this involves more than two quantities. Now, for combined variation, here we only, it's either a combination of direct and inverse variation or joint variation and inverse variation. So it's a combination of more than two variations or two variations here. So y varies directly with x and inversely with z means y is equal to k times x, and then since inversely means divided by z. So if you have q varies jointly with s and the square of r, and inversely with t means q is equal to k times s times r squared divided by t because of inversely with t. So now we are given here a table of values. So what are we going to do is try to determine if what type of variation are the given. And then after that, we're going to write the variation statement, the mathematical equation, and solve for the constant of variation and the variation equation. So first, we have direct variation. Here, as x increases, y also increases. In inverse variation, as x increases, y decreases. Or it's the opposite. And in joint variation, as x and z increases, y also increases. And in combined, so it depends on what kind of variations you are going to combine here. Now, so That's the first step that you are going to identify the value of x and y. Since in this example, A, B, and C, it only involves two quantities or two variables, it means the choices now, it's either direct variation or inverse variation. Now, check the values of x. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, increasing. How about value of y? 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, increasing also. Which means direct variation, but not yet. You need to check one more. Check the constant, the value of k. It means to solve for k, simply that is y divided by x, right? Means get the ratio of y and x. Means 8 divided by 4, the answer is 2. 10 divided by 5, the answer is 2. Are all the ratio is equal to 2 here? Okay, yes, k is equal to y over x. They are all equal to 2. It means that this is direct variation. So the first one is direct variation. Okay, next, the second one. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, increasing. But the values of y, 24, 12, 8, 6, 4, decreasing. Which means two quantities, either direct or inverse, ang pagpipilian. But this time, decreasing, the values of y or y is decreasing, which means inverse variation. Now, another one, you need to check the value of k or the constant k, which means how to solve for k in here. K is equal to simply multiply x and y, right, to solve for k. So multiply now. 1 times 24, that's 24. 2 times 12, 24. 3 times 8, 24. 4 times 6, 24. 6 times 4, 24. Which means the product of x and y is equal to the constant k, which is 24. Which means this is inverse variation. Okay, what about this table? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Two quantities means it's either direct or inverse. Increasing, and this one is decreasing. Oh, it means inverse. But we need to check the value of k. K should be the product of x and y. So 1 times 5, that is 5. 2 times 6, that is 12. 3 times 18, 3 times 8, that is 24. So they are not equal to the constant k, which means that this is not a variation at all. Okay, next. X and y, two quantities, so it's either direct and or inverse. So check. 20, 40, 80, 120. Increasing. 5, 10, 20, 30. That is also increasing. So direct variation. Now we are going to get the ratio of x to solve for k, means get the ratio of y and x. So 5, the value of y, 5 divided by 20. 5 divided by 20. Reduce the lowest term by 5. 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. And 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4. So 1/4. Here, 20 divided by 40, the lowest term is 1/4. 20 divided by 80, the lowest term is 1/4. 30 divided by 120, the lowest term is 1/4. Which means that the ratio of y to x is equal to the constant k, which is 1/4. Which means that this is direct variation. Okay, what about letter E? We have 2, 4, 3, 6, 9. So they are not increasing, right? And this is 18, 9, 12, 6, 4. It's not also increasing or decreasing. But don't dismiss that this is not a direct variation, because they are not arranged. The values are not arranged properly. So what are you going to do? two variables, that is, it's either direct or inverse variation. If you are going to arrange this one, or you can arrange this, or you can just simply get the constant of variation. Okay? So what is now the constant of variation here? Let's see. 18 times 2. Let's say that you assume that this is inverse variation. 18 times 2, 36. 9 times 4, 36. 12 times 4, 3, 36. 6 times 6, 36. 4 times 9, 36. Now, let's say that you assume that this is direct variation. It means divide. 18 divided by 2, that is 9. 9 divided by 4 is not 9. So this is, since they are equal to the constant k, which is 36, this means this is inverse variation. You see, you can arrange these values of x, and it will show that they are, as the x increases, the y decreases. Okay? So there is a trick given there. And here, we have here three values or three quantities, x, z, and y. Now, this is involved three variables. It's either joint variation or combined variation. Now here, to solve for k in joint variation is simply k is equal to y divided by x, z. So 24 divided by the product of 3 times 2 is 6. 24 divided by 6, that is 4. 48 divided by 4 times 3 is 12. 48 divided by 12, that is 4. And 120 divided by 30, the product of 6 and 5, and that is 4. 168 divided by 42, this is the product of 6 and 7, and that is 4. So the value of k is equal to y divided by the product of x and z, which means this is joint variation. So that's how you're going to identify if the given table is direct, inverse, joint variation. So now what are we going to do next? So now what are we going to do now is we're going to write the equation, variation statement, mathematical equation of the tables that are variations. So here the letter A is direct variation. So it means that write the statement, the variation statement here is y is directly proportional to x, or you can write this as y varies directly directly as x. They mean the same thing, okay, as x. Okay, next, write the mathematical equation. So simply, that is y is equal to kx. Next, solve the constant of variation. So we already have the value of k here. So k is equal to 2. Next, number 4, write the equation of variation. Simply, from this mathematical equation, y is equal to kx, just replace k with the value of k, which is 2. So therefore, y is equal to 2x. That's it. Next, letter B is inverse variation. So write the variation statement, that is y varies inversely as x. Write the mathematical equation, which means y is equal to k over x, and solve for k, the constant of variation, and we already have the value of k, which is 24. So k is 24, and then next is to write the equation of variation. So what are you going to do is simply replace this k with the value of k, which is 24. So y is equal to 24 over x. Next, again, letter D is direct variation. Letter C is not a variation. So write the variation statement, y varies directly as x. Write the mathematical equation, so that is y is equal to kx. Solve for the constant of variation. We already have the value of k, which is 1/4. So we can write the equation variation. Y is equal to 1/4 x. Or you can have x over 4. Letter E, again, that's inverse variation. So write the variation statement. Y varies inversely as x. And then write the mathematical equation, that is y is equal to k over x. Remember, inverse variation. Number 3, solve for the constant of variation we already have, which is k is equal to x times y, and that is 36. So simply, to write the equation of variation, you just replace this k with the value is equal to 36. So y is equal to 36 over x. For F, that is joint variation. So write the variation statement. Y varies jointly as x and z. Next, write the mathematical equation. That is y is equal to k times z. And solve for the constant of variation k. We already have the value of k, which is 4. So k is equal to 4. And write the equation of variation. Simply replace this k with the value of k, which is 4. So y is equal to 4x z. So that's how you're going to write the variation statement or the equation and to solve for k given the table of values. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.